Hi all, I'm Piero Slavazza. I'm the VP of Engineering of Measurence. I joined Measurence in May, and before I was the system architect of Job Rapido, the second largest job search engine in the world. And so I know very well how much important is collecting data about users' behavior when they use online services. And previously has been debated how much this can be ethical or not, but actually industries is making a lot of sense of this data which is collected. And in particular, online retailers know a lot about their customers. Measure's mission is to flip the coin and help brick-and-mortar retailers to catch up with online retailers. Brick-and-mortar retailers lack of all the data which is available to e-commerce, and we think that we can close this gap in order to help brick-and-mortar retailers to increase revenues and lower operation costs. So the Measurance vision is basically, in a sentence, to transform stores in physical websites, in the sense that we want to enable data-driven decision in marketing and operations. How? The very first step is to collect data about customers' behavior in store. Answering this kind of questions is a normal thing in the online world, and we think that it should become a normal thing also in the offline world, in the brick-and-mortar retailers. For instance, how many people walk by a store window, how many people enter a store, which together give the conversion rate of the store window. And all these metrics are of paramount importance for the online retailers to drive a better experience, to lower operational costs, to optimize investment in marketing, and so on. How do we collect data? We collect data by this sensor. It's a Wi-Fi sensor, very small. We developed our own firmware, so currently we deploy the firmware on this sensor, but we can deploy the firmware also on hardware which is already installed into the stores. We can install how many sensors we want into the store in order to cover the whole venue. And this is currently based on Wi-Fi. So we have a network of sensors. We collected the data, the presence data of the customers inside the store. We actually do an estimate of the presence of the customers inside the store. And our ultimate goal is to leverage this data in order to create knowledge which can be actionable, and so which can help all the stakeholders in order to make decisions. For instance, in the online world, we often talk about A/B testing. It's very common, for instance, at Job Rapido, it was very common, but of course also at Amazon and so on, it's very common to do A/B testing. And an interesting thing is to also take A/B testing to the brick-and-mortar retailers. We can do also many other things, like, for example, loyalty analysis, conversion and funnel analysis, and so on. Let's focus on A/B testing of store windows. As you may know, a store chain spends for each store window from 3,000 to 7,000 euros per store window. If you have a chain of stores, so many stores, many store windows that are changed many times a year, it's a lot of money. And currently, store managers, marketing directors knows very little about the effectiveness of the arrangement of store windows. And of course, they look at revenues, but between the conversion of a store window and the revenue, there is a whole pipeline of events, and there are a lot of KPIs that you can measure. It's very poor decision to measure the performance of a store window by just looking at the conversion, because, for instance, the store window is converting very well, but the clerks of the stores do not follow the policies, or the shelves are not arranged in the best way. So, by this example, with our sensors, with our data, you can focus just on the store window conversion, because we can collect data about the passers-by, we can collect data about who's from the passers-by entered the store. We can of course collect even more data, for instance, how much time the passers-by spend, the visitors spend into the store. We have a lot of challenges in this business, with this technology, and privacy is for sure top priority. I want to highlight that we collect zero personal information about customers. We just collect the MAC address of their devices, and even the MAC address is anonymized. We look at the aggregated data, and we want to bring value to the retailers by protecting the privacy of the users. Moreover, we are part of a forum which is named the Future of Privacy Forum, and is based in the USA. And so we have also guidelines which we must adhere in order to be compliant with the forums. And in the story, it is highlighted that there is this kind of monitoring system, and there are means to opt out from the monitoring system. What's next? So we collect data, we crunch the data, we create a report, we have dashboard, we have a number of customers and pilots and so on. But our next step is to make the data more actionable. That is to being able, let's say, to tell a story, or in another way, to better integrate with the workflow of the store managers and the marketing directors. Moreover, we want to integrate with sales and CRM of the stores in order to provide more insight. And it's also among our goals to create predictive models about customers' behavior. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Piercarlo Slavazza. And well, you're always presenting so fast, I don't get to use the big gong. Maybe we need to ask one startup to use more time. So, up to you again to shoot with questions or direct feedback. And of course, the chance again to raise questions from the audience.
Well, I'm torn between fascinating and scary. But
Stick with the first one.
But what I really like about this idea is that the whole idea to really track conversion and see what's going on, and be able to do A/B tests and all that, and really think of a physical shop just like we think of an e-commerce website, and how to enable store managers to be more efficient, to get more customers and all that. And I think that's a very interesting problem to solve. I just don't know whether the customers will be spooked or whether they will enjoy this new shopping experience.
Well, for what concerns the privacy problem, as I stated before, all the data is anonymized, and consider that we are going to produce estimates and aggregated data. And for what concerns how the customer can benefit, there are a number of features that we are investigating. For instance, given that this is a Wi-Fi device, we can leverage what is currently called social Wi-Fi. So you come into the store, you have a Wi-Fi connection available, you can log in, okay, and so you can have the benefit of using a free Wi-Fi network. And another way to benefit for our platform is to integrate our platform in the store app. So we have an SDK, and the store app can understand whether the user has been already in the store, if it is entering the store, and so on. Obviously, when you use the social Wi-Fi or you use the app, you are opting in the technology, and so there is no privacy concern because basically you give your consensus in order to use this kind of information. It is the more you can get from the platform, you have to log in, basically.
I like the idea. So, yeah. Well, as far as
Interesting.
I like the last one too, but I just think it's not really new. Okay, no, and as far as I understood you, as long as I'm just running around, going into the store, the data will be anonymized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so where should be there a data problem to know? As I said, I really like the idea that a heart and brick shop can kind of track their customers in a way so that they can improve, their shop.
Yeah.
Do you know? I like the idea as well. But do you know in London? I think it was a couple of years ago. They had trash bins, garbage cans. And what happened was in London they couldn't have trash bins because of the terror, right? But then they found some trash bins. Someone made some, and what happened was, I'll tell you a little story. What happened was this trash bin would capture people walking by through their Wi-Fi signals, and it would do pretty much the same thing you were doing, and it didn't come over very good from the privacy people. So they binned the trash bins.
Oh, kind of like Google when they did the Street View thing and also
Exactly.
scanned the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly. Similar. But I think the hard thing is going to be, there's other like Bluetooth low energy, like iBeacons, right?
I thought so.
BLE, Bluetooth low energy,
Yeah.
iBeacons and stuff.
Yeah.
There's obviously a different use case, and not everyone has their Bluetooth on and stuff, but there you have more accuracy, so you can be more precise. So I think, although I think the good thing about Wi-Fi is everybody has it on. So I think that obviously you're going to have some issues like we did and like the case in London did. But I think in general, interesting idea.
Yeah, well, one point about iBeacons is that currently they are just supported at the operative level by iOS.
Yes. Yeah.
So, of course, also an Android app can leverage this iBeacon, but it consumes battery because the operating system do not wake the app when it is in proximity of an iBeacon.
Right.
With our system, there is no such problem, and consider that Android currently accounts for the very large majority of the market.
Yeah.
Piercarlo, I like the idea as well. For me, it sounds like a Google Analytics for a physical shop, kind of. And I would have loved to see this kind of interface, like a shop map with like a heat map, or because I'm pretty sure this is something you would present to the clients, which would have made visible, like clients are walking around in a shop and stopping at this shelf and these kind of things. In terms of technology, I agree, that I think in a sense, it sounds a little bit old-fashioned indeed. I had the trash bin example also in my mind, but also just technology-wise, I would try to go, beyond Wi-Fi. BLE would be something There is a company in Munich that invented an interactive wine shelf, for example. So where the wine bottles are standing on has a sensor, and it detects if the bottle is lifted up, and these kind of things, to make it even more trackable. How the shop. Of course, this does only work indoors, for the shops. But in general, I think the idea to bring this idea of tracking and analyzing consumer behavior also for physical stores is a good one. By the way, I also like how you tackled privacy. It didn't seem to me like, oh my God, these guys seem to care, so I have to put in a bullet. It seems a little bit like you really care about that. That's good.
One comment.
And thanks. I see passion. That's you ask for that. I have the feeling that you really want this.
Thank you. One comment about the technologies. Consider that we developed the firmware. So in the end. This is a Linux device.
Yeah, you can add other stuff.
There is a USB port, and we are tracking Wi-Fi by means of this dongle. So nothing prevents us, once the network sensor is delivered into a shop, to deliver some more technologies, change technologies. Our value is in managing the sensor, collecting the data, and delivering knowledge. So Wi-Fi, it's very handy, it's easy, it accounts for the majority of the devices, but nothing prevents us to, and actually we did, to plug in a Bluetooth dongle and transform this device in an iBeacon, basically.
Carlo, as you say, we, who's we? I missed a chart, about the team, or because as you heard, from the panel before, everyone said you invest in the team, the people are the most important, blah, blah, blah.
Measurence is a New York-based company. There are two founders, which are both Italian. The CEO is based in New York. The CTO is working with me in Italy, in Milan. We have a number of collaborators which are now full-time, and the CEO and me are full-time. So the R&D team is pretty small, but by the end of the year, we are planning to grow and raise some investment.
We have 1 minute left. Is there anybody from the audience who wants to ask something or say something? No? Then maybe one more nice thing to say again.
I had already
yes,
nice at this presentation.
You still have now 40 seconds if you want.
I have one last question. Is it already up and running? I mean, have you implemented it in a store already somewhere?
Yeah, a number. Yeah, in Italy at MediaWorld, which is a big mall, and we are currently running a pilot at Godiva Chocolatier in the United States, which is a very big chain stores, and we will deliver our sensor in New York City, in California, and so on. And also a number of littler locations.
Okay, good. Thank you. Cool.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Measurence.